Are you actually burnt out? Now today we're gonna answer a question that a lot of athletes come up and talk to me about, which is burnout and what it really is and where it leads to within your athletic progressions, and in some cases even athletes thinking that they're depressed. But I'm here to question that. Maybe see that you might not be as burnt out as you think you are because the strategies and the plans have not been going the way that is optimal for you as an athlete and as a human. Coach Cam fam, we're breaking out burnout, and we're gonna make sure that you're feeling all the ways to get rid of it and all the techniques you need. Let's get into it. Before we get into defining what burnout is, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and talk about what your own experiences are in the comment section down below. We're here to help athletes. Coach Cam fam, let's do it. But what is burnout? Now, a lot of athletes might think that motivation decreasing is what burnout is, but in reality, burnout is a progression over a longer period of time of maximum overload within your training and your mental fatigue, if you will, and then no recovery or no rest time for not just 1 week, not just 1 month, but prolonged events that look at 3 to 6 month intervals, which then lead to you either being sick continuously, having other physical issues like injuries or anything that's coming up quickly like bumps and bruises. And the other one is lack of motivation throughout everything that you're doing. So it's not just necessarily your sport, but it comes up within your whole personality. And you see that by athletes changing the way they behave. Now, a lot of people will go straight into saying that they're depressed or a tournament didn't go well, so that they're using that to then attach certain feelings onto, when in reality, that might not be the exact case. Now, a lot of people think that just training for one tournament after 6 weeks is, oh, I'm burnt out, but it's actually not the case at all. I'm gonna reiterate that point by saying there's a lot more that goes into burnout than what you might think. But the bottom line is overusage with not enough recovery. Now, personal story, the reason why I got into sports psychology and mental training in the first place is because I was actually depressed as a young athlete in the first place. As a 17, 18-year-old, I was ranked number 2 in the world as a fighter, and basically throughout the consistent pressure that I put on myself, which overloaded to bad thinking, the high pace of training and overtraining, even though I was told to be resting. And then on top of that, the lack of rest. I didn't sleep enough. I didn't eat well. I didn't do the things that I needed to in addition to training at a high level in order to make sure that I had the full, complete, holistic system. As a result, my unchecked thought patterns led to me being a very negative person overall, which is inevitably why I was depressed for a long period of time, even thinking about quitting my sport after having so much success as a junior moving into the senior levels. So then now I understand what the whole process was, and we need to take steps into one thing right now. Now, it all starts from here, and that is out of control thinking, and better yet, out of control composure of thinking. Your brain is working 24/7. Information is being taken in from everything going on around you. And now that actual information overload is happening at its max capacity when you're in the middle of training or a competition or any situation that's forcing you to perform at a high level. So knowing that, all these thoughts are coming in based off of information, and you're judging them whether they're good or bad. Now, the reality for that is because athletes want to perform at a high level, they naturally think more negatively because they're trying to find the gaps of what they need to do in order to achieve the next level of the skill that they want to perform. But the thing you don't realize is when I think negative, it also attaches a negative emotion onto the skill I'm trying to perform. Whenever I do those two things simultaneously, it naturally builds over the course of one training session to then one whole week of trainings, and beyond that to then lead you to not feeling confident enough at a certain tournament. When you've been naturally pushing yourself to think negatively, that kick wasn't good enough, that punch wasn't good enough, the throw that I did wasn't good enough, or I need to make these adjustments without having any checks in yourself to say, this is what I'm doing well, you're going to build a really strong framework for thinking negatively. And inevitably, you're not gonna have the confidence or even the resilience to come back in those kinds of moments. This leads me to the next part of your thinking, which is post or future thinking. Thinking about what happened or what's going to happen and creating judgments based off of how my well-being is going to be great if things go well here, or my well-being's not good because of what happened there. Then inevitably you're thinking negative in the now, you're thinking negative in the different spots, and it's not going to help you at all. The bottom line is having negative current thoughts with negative thoughts or judgments about what's supposed to happen and basing your well-being off of these two things is naturally going to disguise itself as burnout over the course of a month, 2 months, or even leading up to a major event. Now, let's say that the event does not go well. and you really feel bad about yourself, that's when the natural word of depression is put onto an athlete because of the current result that they're having and the negative consistent builds that are happening over the course of time. So what do? You're burnt out or you're feeling down or whatever it might be. We need to do two specific things. The number one is your checklist. And after your checklist, you then take the necessary steps to build forward for yourself. The checklist is going to consist of 3 different questions. Number one, how much have you been resting actually? Now, I'm not talking about, oh, I take breaks in between practices or whatever else I need to do, but how much active time have you built into your training schedule for you to rest? Now, if you're a coach, how much time are you reinforcing for your athletes to rest, and what does that rest look like? Is it active rest where they're doing a team bonding activity, or is it the rest where they need to at least be in bed at a certain period of time? Or is it the rest of, hey, make sure you guys are foam rolling or using a lacrosse ball to massage yourselves after or before any practice? Now, after that, you look into what the training load has been. But based off of your training load, you say, I've been training this many times per week and how it's been going. Address the how it's been going to make sure you know where you're at. Training's been going really bad, training's been going really good. And the second part to that is then address why. Why do you feel like it's been going well, or why do you feel like it's not been going well? Addressing that certain thing and addressing what it is will almost help all athletes get the direction they need to then make the changes that they need to happen. A lot of you actually know what the answer is to help yourselves. It's just pushing yourself over that edge or making sure you listen to your own gut to make the solutions. Now the final part of that checklist is to ask yourself how you've been getting better. A lot of athletes will track progress by understanding that they've been getting better at a certain thing, they feel better in a certain way, or there's something that they're able to perform specifically in competition. Now, if you can't get anything out of those 3, then yes, I would look at saying maybe you're in a burnout phase, or you're doing things that are not helping you and pushing you into the burnout phase itself. But if you can even answer with one thing in that category, then you're not there, and we need to just make some simple adjustments that'll help you move forward out of it. The second part is actually very simple but difficult for a lot of athletes, and that is to check yourself. A lot of athletes let negative thinking go unchecked throughout their practices and don't actually stay conscious of what they need to do to make sure that they're positively making adjustments, which leads to the mental skill of the day, which is positive adjustments. Saying I need to change this based off of a certain performance is never gonna help you. Making a positive adjustment refers to you saying, okay, I perform a certain rep of something, noting what the improvement is and telling yourself to do that improvement. A lot of times we get in the habit or the hamster wheel of saying, I didn't do this, I didn't use my hips, I didn't throw with power, I didn't push my kick, I didn't lift my knee. And all of these negative comments will then inevitably make you focus on that negative thing and leave gaps in your thinking to then perform another thing wrong. Especially if you're in a high performance situation where you're in competition or in gameplay, then you need to be on your game all the time. And hesitation stems from there. Now I can make a whole separate video about hesitation, but in this specific case, check yourself with a positive adjustment. Address what the adjustment is that you need to make in practice and tell yourself to do that thing, or you are doing that thing. I am lifting my knee. I will do this. I will do the thing that I need to in order to make the adjustment there. Now, at the end of every single practice, have a moment to yourself. This is gonna be the next piece of baby reflections. Not a full-on reflection where you're writing a thesis statement on what you need to improve on, but having a moment of 5 seconds or even 20 seconds, or God forbid, 1 minute, where you take time to actually think about something that happened at the practice today. That could be something you learned, something you did well, maybe you performed a super cool highlight reel technique and you loved it. Or another thing is maybe just taking a step and saying, today was really hard and I didn't do everything on point. But then using that to officially let it go. Having that moment that's deliberate will allow you to say, I'm noting this practice and it's officially done. When you move on to the rest of your day, it's not carrying that practice. You left it with that moment of pause when you were doing it. Do these 2 things and you will see the difference between your skills building and your overall happiness within your practices building over time. Now, if this video hits a special nerve and you need that extra help, I encourage you to go reach out. Friends, family, or even other coaches might be a good starting point, but make sure you get the help you need, whether it's a sports psychologist or any licensed therapist, to make sure you work through all those challenges that might be there. I'm the starting point, but we're gonna make sure we keep building athletes. As always, Coach Cam fam, like, subscribe, share. We're here to build athletes, to build better people. As always, till next time, let's get it.